Now, I'm going to shut up for the rest of the 12 minutes we've got in this segment and into the next. Steve, you've got the floor. Continue with the missing nukes, geopolitically, what you believe is happening in Russia with the Olympics and these bombings, all the different things that are happening. Again, I'm not saying that Al-Qaeda doesn't exist. The media always says, you say they don't exist. No, no, no. They work for the New World Order. And you've got just so many sources. So you've got the floor. Where is it going? The mystery illness, all of it. Steve Quayle.
Well, Alex, first of all, I want to take on the Middle East because from the day we became involved in Iraq with our overthrow of Saddam Hussein, obviously going into Libya, Gaddafi, going down the road, going down the line, this is the whole biblical context of the book of Daniel and the end times, especially with the Prince of Persia. Persia is Iran. Now, this is critical. You can tell where this is going to go simply by understanding that in the world of Ahmadinejad, and Iranians, I must make this clear, the Iranians are Aryans. They do not see themselves as Arabs. The whole Arab world is worried about this because they know different factions, Sunni, Shiites, and all the various offshoots. They are looking for the return of the Imam Mahdi. When I said that, people really flipped out 10 years ago. Man, I can't tell you how much hate mail I got on that one. But the point being is that you can predict that this is going to go. That's why all the allegiances and the alliances, in order for the Imam Mahdi, this is all I need to say, to come on the scene, there has to be a global conflagration. That is part of their eschatology. That is why you have the West now being assaulted with radical Islam. You've got the denigration of biblical Christianity, the cowards in the pulpits. You know, it's interesting because when this nation was great and strong, we still had foundational values. Now the attack on the American family, the attack on the truth, everything that stood for what we based our foundational principles on. And when people say, well, they can't do that because of the Constitution, in their mind, the Constitution's over, the Bill of Rights are over, all of the baloney that has come out of the spy agencies. Look, the American citizen, here's a simple question. American citizenry is targeted for destruction. The globalists are going to come in and plunder. They have plundered the middle class. They're going to plunder, rape, pillage. You're going to do it all. Now, that sounds really inflammatory unless you can back it up, and I can back it up, and I will back it up. I expect Vladimir Putin to make an amazing move against Saudi Arabia in the very near future. I think I know what it's going to say, but in lack of waiting for a secondary confirmation how that's going to take place, he's confronted by the same radical Islamic movement, and he knows. Now, listen, let me make something clear on terrorists. Doesn't matter what title you put on them, the Muslim Brotherhood, Egyptian Brotherhood, Al-Qaeda, this, that, or the other thing. The bottom line is somebody always pays terrorists to implement a form of sabotage and foreign policy by terror and destruction. So somebody's paying these people. And the people that are paying them are almost transnational, and they're also supernatural in this case. You know, one of the things, Alex, that has been hard for me to get through to people is there is a evil spiritual element. Let's call it the devil. Let's call it what it really is. And even the secularists that want to listen to me and you and get all that data, they don't. There's a contingency out there. There's the ones on the left that say they're servants of the Illuminati, and they do worship Satan. They do believe in all the juju. They do believe in all the juju, by the way, is Swahili for devil stuff. And the thing is that they absolutely have a plan, an agenda. We've never seen Christianity come under attack. We've watched the military. That's one thing I warned about, and people wouldn't listen. Since when did the military, and I'll tell you this, the Air Force was the one that was spearheading it up to basically get rid of all Christians. Now we've got the war on Christianity. And Jesus said if the Christians lose their salt, they're going to be trodden under the foot, okay? When I pray for you, Alex, and I you probably know this, and if you don't, I want to share this. I pray for you when I pray for people globally, internationally, and sometimes I have a listening audience of 7 million.
No, I know. You pray for me on air. I really appreciate that, Steve.
Yeah, no. And I'm just saying this, though. There are intercessors that will tell me stuff that I could not have known about for one time. And look, I'm just going to leave it at this, is the danger that you and your family were in that was stopped because people who love you, Alex, and I'm one of them, who pray and intercede. Look, there are men of God in the highest ranks of the military. I'm talking real men of God. These guys are some of the most dangerous men in the world, but they do love God. On the other hand, some of the most evil and wicked men in the kingdom of hell and Satan are warring. So there's a battle going on. And I tried to get that through to people, and they thought that basically, I had too much wacky tobacco. By the way, I don't smoke. So the point is that we're in a time period now where the book of Revelation, and so Revelation of Jesus, that Jesus is the one that's telling us all this stuff's going to come. How about the n.d.a.a? How about all of the push towards the entire being able, we won't be able to buy, sell, or trade unless we take the mark of the beast, all the biometric scanning, all that stuff. So how does all this play in? All of every single issue boils around creating a global conflagration in which the false Messiah will come and bring a false peace. You can see now exactly how foreign policy is going, and whether Prince Bandar of Saudi Arabia was behind it or not, I will tell you this, that Moscow knows better than anybody due to their intelligence apparatus, just the capabilities of Saudi Arabia, separate and apart from the U.S. backing them. Now that you heard Saudi Arabia said that they felt betrayed by the entity in the White House. That's how I refer to him. Well, he has betrayed him. He betrays everyone because he believes in the return of the Mahdi. It doesn't matter what he says publicly. The tree is known by the fruit it bears. So all of the geopolitical realm is based on this. The same thing with the financial collapse. You know, we can warn, you can warn, have been for years what the plan is.
And we've been collapsing. They just keep denying. Let me throw one thing in, and I want you to get back in the financial collapse. Again, Steve Quayle joins us, syndicated radio host right now, stevequayle.com. I'm Alex Jones with Infowars.com. If you just tuned across the dial and are wondering what you're listening to, the UN is setting up, as you know, 10 global regions. Bible says that. 10 sub-regions per region. The UN has said, and David Rockefeller has said, and Kissinger has written publicly and said, all they need is the right global crisis, and the nations of the world will give up all their liberty and accept a one-world government. Now they're openly announcing this, and Albert Pike wrote in 1878, the head of the Illuminati, he said, we're going to have a First World War, a Second World War, to bring in the League of Nations and the UN. Then we'll have a Third World War between Christianity, Islam, with Judaism in the middle. And then out of that, Lucifer, our God, will take over. So whether the Bible's a real thing or not, the point is they are manifesting it like a science fiction book. Science fiction of 100 years ago has now become reality. So even to atheists out there, and of course I believe it to be true and know it is, even to atheists that don't get that, they have to understand by believing it, it's been manifest, and it's not us believing it that manifested it as Christians. The evil ones follow the Bible closer than Christians do. They just follow it from the other perspective.
That's an amazing statement, Alex, because no one knows the devil, or the Bible, better than the devil from the standpoint that's what he tempted Jesus with when he took him up on the top of the temple. You know, bow down and worship me, and I'll give you all the power of the kingdoms of the world. Now, here's what's interesting. The same day that we had the situation that Russia gets hit, the Bakken oil train blows up, and their whole city now is going to be supposedly vacated. Remember the old statement of the Illuminists, don't let a good crisis go to waste. Also, the Russian Red Chinese troops. Now, this is the one that really surprised people, and they denied it, even though I had Robert Jones on my show years ago telling that he had a relative that was sent to Moscow. The Soviet or Russian government took him in and showed him the letter that was sent by the DHS to request Russian troops to come to the United States to help in gun confiscation.
Wait, let me stop you. In NLE09, they put out too much of the document on the FEMA side, admitting troops from 15 nations participated in civil suppression of revolts in America. They have deals with Mexico and Canada, vice versa. Our troops go into both nations. And, Steve, it was you first in the mid-'90s that said that Russians were training to go up against Americans under Northcom before the term Northcom was even public. And now in the last year, we've seen them publicly training, not there looking inside the B-1 bombers or B-2 bombers to make sure they can't take nukes under treaty. No, they're training domestically. So how is our government with attacking Russia while at the same time bringing them here?
Well, again, the idea is somebody beyond what you see as our government is calling the shots. The puppeteers behind the puppets, so to speak. And what is really challenging, Alex, as you know, is to get, even though you show pictures of Russian armor, Russian Hind gunships, all of the different pictures of the troops, the training, what people have got to remember is this: there's no shortage of funds for the statement that the president made that we need another army beyond the regular military. That's why the regular military, the veterans have been decimated. They're being intentionally destroyed. And I tried to get the veterans to understand that. And I'm just one voice, but, at least I've got a large microphone sometimes.
Oh, no, the number one terror threat, we broke these documents 5 years ago, is returning military. And now that's all public. And the government trains 24/7 to go after anybody who isn't going to join with Sauron.
Absolutely. And now the thing that it even gets worse, when you brought out the MIAC report, and I'm sorry we've got to cover so much, and I get accused of talking too fast, and I tell people this openly, I said, I wish I had Alex's energy and youth, because, brother, after 20-some years of this, you get tired and you get worn down, and by the grace of God, it's the people that pray for you, for me, for others, that are in essence, holding up our hands like Joshua and Caleb, or whoever held up Moses' hands when the battle was against him. But what I'm saying in all this is simply this, is that there is a spiritual battle that is playing out in the physical plane. The battle is real. Behind the scenes, our military, certain factions of our military are killing each other off. It's true in the intelligence agency. The whistleblowers are being decimated. The bragging that, quote, never in the history of America that I know would a president make the statement that this one made, that he's really good at killing people. The whole drones, the Skynet, the layout of the Predator movies, and the layout of the entire, if you will, plan to subjugate the planet totally. The DNA, and that's a question I've got to ask you, Alex. Texas is kind of a dichotomy to me. I love Texas. I lived there back and forth for a number of years, a lot of time. I lived in Irvine and Dallas. But the thing is I guess what is troubling to me is it seems like Texas wants to implement all these strange search procedures. I know what you guys were facing when you tried to just have your constitutional rights. Why is it? I mean, it seems like...
Well, the globalists know that Texas is one of the main points that has people that might lead a resistance to take the republic back. So we are getting hit the hardest, like the main fortress. They're trying to bring us down.
Right. No, I understand that, but I don't understand why the police, who obviously listen to your show, and the powers that be that obviously know that, because obviously, Texas...
Well, when they have police attack us demonstrating and things, the Dallas police wouldn't do it. They brought in federalized sheriff's deputies who look like bouncers from clubs with their shirts hanging out to attack us. And they've got special units of evil people who'll do whatever they're told.
Okay, but Texas does understand, and you talk to enough people in Texas that the weather wars, whether the drought and the attack upon the South. By the way, if you look at where the flu, and let's just call it what it is, the bioweapons been released, it's in the South. Obviously, those aren't the most favored states in the current political climate.
Oh, look, all they do is demonize it and say that they wish the South was dead and kill Phil Robertson and anybody in the South is racist. Absolutely, because as bad as the South is with some of the things in it, it still has Christianity. People still say hi to you. People are more loving. That's what I've experienced. And they want to eradicate that and have them be a bunch of plastic trendies.
Right, and it's interesting because that's a really great word. What they want is they want automatons. They want robots, and that's where the whole point. When I wrote the book Genetic Armageddon, I just want to share with people something. Never in the history of the world has there been so much denial of the obvious. These entities, and they're a supernaturally wicked group of people who claim that they are literally of Lucifer's bloodline. You quoted Morals.
It's the Merovingians. All these royalty, all of them,
right.
have written books.
So it's it's fascinating to me that every action, who is it against? You can say anything about anybody in the world, no flack. You mention Jesus, you mention the word Christmas, you mention anything, and they have this group of trolls that climbs out of the primordial slime to attack Jesus. And I'm telling you this, there's going to be